Agriculture on the move.
Agricole mouvement.
Agriculture on the move.
Agricole en mouvement.
Agriculture on the move.
Agricole mouvement.
Agriculture on the move.
Agricole en mouvement.
Hello again, St. Lucia, and welcome to the program, Agriculture on the Move. Of course, I'm Philip Sidney, your host. Today is a special day. It's also our last program for the year 2022, and we must end with a bang. And with me is the Honorable Alfred Prosper, the Minister responsible for Agriculture, Fisheries, Food Security, and Rural Development. Welcome to the program, Mr. Prosper.
Thank you very much.
Yes, man. I know you have taken time off. I'm happy to see you here. And I know you're armed with information for the public to tell them your achievements for, I can call it your first year?
Full year in office.
Your full year in office.
Yes.
Okay, I know you've had a few trips overseas representing St. Lucia and the government. You want to give us an idea of what the trips were all about?
Well, the last one, and let me say it's a pleasure to be participating in this interview today. It is going to be my last interview for the year, as you mentioned. And I think it is timely because we have had a number of challenges in the agricultural sector. And even recently, we experienced heavy rains that impacted the production and the yield of the farmers and in terms of crop production. And we also had the trough, where a number of farmers in the northern part of the island and in region 8, I think, Bexon, were impacted. And
region 1 and 2.
Regions 1 and 2, yes, and as well as Bexon. So we had some challenges, and I'm very happy to be here today to have a discussion in terms of agriculture and where we are, where we want to go in the coming year.
Definitely.
I attended the recent meeting last week in Montreal, and it is called the 15th Conference of Parties for the United Nations Convention on Biological Diversity. I'm sure you've heard that term, biological diversity. It's all the plants and animals and the insects and everything coming together and living together in harmony with nature. But what is happening is that those conferences have been called every 2 years. And I had the opportunity to participate and to really participate in the discussion and to really get an opportunity to hear what are some of the global issues that confronts us as small island states, especially with regards to our biodiversity. We know small island states like us, we are very, very vulnerable to climate change, but we also have a rich biodiversity. Our ecosystems are very, very, very diverse, but our biodiversity loss is a cause for concern. And we as small island states, we must ensure that we put measures in place to address our biodiversity, because you have to think of nature. Our biodiversity is really about living in harmony with nature, but we see climate change, human activities are destroying our biodiversity in a big way. And so the conference brought together almost 200 parties to really discuss what we're doing, what is an approach, an appropriate strategy to be able to address those problems. And one of the things that came up was what we call the Global Biodiversity Framework. And it's a strategy or a plan of action that each country is supposed to be developed, established in its own country, looking at the issues of biodiversity, how we can address them, what are the needs, what is required to address it. And that brought us to the vexing issue of access to funding, because you need funding to be able to put policies, measures in place to be able to address the problems head on. And one of the things that came out of the meeting was, yes, the developed countries are always pledging financial support. Just at the meeting, there was an announcement by Canada of almost $200 million for biodiversity conservation. But the problem has been easy access to it and how quickly it can get to those countries who needs it. So it was a very good meeting. I had the opportunity to make a national statement to the meeting. I also had an opportunity to make a statement on what we call a seeds coalition, where St. Lucia and other countries in the Caribbean, as well as other countries in Asia, I think the other annexes, are coming together to bring all those small island states together to address the issue of biodiversity. Small island states like St. Lucia can easily be destroyed if we do not put measures in place to protect our biodiversity. Climate change impacts, we have natural disasters, and all of those natural phenomena affecting our biodiversity is a cause for concern, and I was really happy to represent St. Lucia at that meeting.
Very good, very good, very good. Moving forward, I know from the time you came in, one of your mantra is that is food and nutrition security, and everything surrounding the various units and various components, addresses that, because we need to feed ourselves, especially now, bearing in mind with all the climate change and disasters around. So, part and parcel of what we're talking about was a 7-crop program that was initiated some 3 years ago, and then now it is in its second phase. Tell us about it in terms of the whole embodiment of food security.
Well, that is a very good question, and from very early when I came in, the issue of food security was a very, very, very serious issue. And it's not just a local problem, it has become a global problem. And there are a number of other challenges that have made it even worse. The issue of the war in Ukraine has seen an increase in the freight and shipping costs, and that has been a result of our farmers now having to pay more for fertilizer and other inputs.
Right.
But at the same time, we expect them to produce at the same levels that they were expected to produce. Natural disasters continue to be a serious problem, a serious concern to us. Just recently, we had the trough in the northern part of the island. A lot of our farmers were affected. The total cost in terms of estimate was 1.2 million EC dollars. And so that is a concern for us in terms of achieving our food security issue. We also had a number of farmers island-wide impacted by the consistent heavy rain that we experienced between September and November. And so those farmers now they suffered tremendous loss because you did the site prep, you invest in your production, but at the end of the day, you could not have harvested. We still have the issue of marketing board, and I'm hoping that our farmers can be relieved this week because some advancement has been made for marketing board to get a small sum of money to be able to pay the farmers we've been owing for a number of months. Okay. I'm hoping that our farmers will be able to continue building that level of confidence and trust in the marketing board, because the marketing board is an entity that is supposed to be assisting the farmers in terms of the marketing of the produce, and having an entity that is unable to pay for the purchase from the farmers and so on, it is really a problem, and I'm hoping that this will be a thing of the past in the coming year.
Great.
But the 7 crops, I had a meeting just 2 weeks ago, and we had to evaluate what has happened since the second phase of the program was launched in January. And whilst we had done quite a bit of good work, but I believe I was not too sure that we were actually placing enough attention and focus on increasing our food production, all with the aim of reducing our food import bill. And I believe that our farmers deserve to be part of this industry and to be able to make a profit from it. I believe there is a lot they have been doing in terms of producing, but I also believe they are not being given that kind of assistance that is needed to really encourage them to produce more. And so at a meeting recently with the team, we have decided to start in the new year with 50,000 seedlings ranging from tomatoes, cucumber, lettuce, etc., which is part of the 7 crops, to be able to assist the farmers in increasing production. Too often we are hearing the high food imports, but the 7 crops program should at this point be working towards achieving a target that would allow us to be able to make a dent in the reduction in terms of the 25% by 2025. I'm hoping that in the dry season, when a lot of our production is usually low because of most of our farmers are on the slopes, and rainfall will not be the same as it was recently. Irrigation water would be a problem. I'm hoping that we can increase our food production, and then we can make this 7 crops program be more beneficial,
correct,
be more impactful on the ground. We don't want to just hear it's a 7 crops program. We want to see the farmers benefiting. We want to see that on the ground we have the crops that we are importing, and so we can reduce on it, because at the end of the day we must be able to feed ourselves. I'm not happy with the high food import bill that we have, and we must make every effort to reduce it as quickly as possible.
Definitely, and there are 2 things I want to bring to the fore. One, I know we have a number of shade houses. I don't call them greenhouses. I call them shade houses. But I don't think there's so many of them in operation. That's another thing I believe that should be looked at, because I think some of the farmers have many challenges out there with the covering. Of those green shade houses. So I think that would help, because the more more greenhouses or more shade houses that are in operation, it will help to increase our production. The next thing I think you also mentioned was under that same program, you all were able to give some reprieve as far as the cost of fertilizer. Tell us about this.
Yes. Now the greenhouse, what do you call the
shade house?
The shade house. It's really supposed to be an alternative to the farmers in terms of heavy rain.
Exactly.
But we have an issue when I speak to the farmers, in that the shade houses, or what you call the greenhouses, they are saying that the roof is too low. So they're saying that it's supposed to be higher because the impact of the heat and so on is affecting the crops. And I was very surprised learning of that recently. So they were saying that they have to make it a lot higher. And so in that case, the yield will be a lot more, the production will be a lot more.
Okay.
But I want our farmers to understand that, yes, the rainy season is the time when you have to increase your production, because water scarcity is not a problem during that time. But we also have to understand the intensity of the rainfall, and consistent high intensity rainfall will definitely impact your crops, like your cocoa beets, your cucumbers, your pumpkins, your watermelons, your cantaloupes. And so we need to have alternatives in place, so you can make better use of, or more effective use of the greenhouses during the rainy season. Unfortunately, as I always said, and it's a problem, that we do not have agricultural insurance, and so all the farmers were affected. They had no means of getting some returns or some form of compensation that would encourage them to go back into production quickly. But we know our farmers are very serious farmers, and they are always very well known at putting the past behind them and move forward. But it is something that the ministry has to look at in terms of how we assist the farmers with that. But the good news is that I had a discussion with the Mexican ambassador, and in the coming year we are hoping that we can work together to provide more training to our young people in terms of greenhouse agriculture. And he has also made a pledge that the government of Mexico will also be assisting those young persons after they've trained to get greenhouses where they can go into the production and so on. But it's a serious problem. We know the type of agriculture we practice is seasonal.
Yes.
You have rain-fed agriculture, and you have the other form of agriculture, which is the dry season, when a lot of our farmers suffer because of irrigation water. And I continue to make the point that we farmers, I'm a farmer as well, must begin to think differently. The way we were doing things in the past cannot be the same. We must change, because we didn't know of climate change. We didn't know of the war in Ukraine that was going to impact us. We didn't have an issue with food security. Now we have a problem right here in the Caribbean. Movements of our produce from country to country. And so we have to be able to deal with all those issues and to really make this agricultural sector a lot better than it was. But our farmers must be thinking differently, making your cost of production a lot lower by adopting to more innovative ways in agriculture, more climate smart agriculture. That is the only way we're going to be food secure, and that is the only way we will see a country continuing to produce for its own and reducing on the imports of our food.
Well said, but we're due for a break.
That was fast.
You're watching Agriculture on the Move. Stay tuned. We'll be back very soon.
The Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries, Food Security and Rural Development is placing heavy emphasis on the concept of food security. It's our prosperity, our future. The ministry facilitates the development and promotion of sustainable agriculture and food chain systems, the provision of affordable supplies of safe, high-quality nutritious food, and efficient services. One of its support programs is in the field of banana production, including the establishment of the Black Sikatoka Management Unit, sales and distribution of fungicides and oil at subsidized cost, technical and extension support, and market access facilitation. For further information, contact the project coordinator at 725-0444.
Welcome back to the program, Agriculture on the Move. Of course, with me is an Honorable Alfred Prosper, the Minister responsible for Agriculture. Honorable Prosper, I know the Taiwanese have been involved and the Taiwanese keep assisting us in agriculture, and I'm so happy because, I mean, as far as resources are concerned, you know, country is scarce. And I know the Taiwanese have been involved with us for a number of years. They have funded the 7-crop program. And in ensuring that the 7-crop program fits in nicely to increase production, recently they gave some implements, some rotavators, and some tillers to dig drains. Tell us a little more about this.
And I want to really take the opportunity at this time to thank the Taiwanese government, thank the Taiwanese mission, the ambassador to Taiwan, for the tremendous support they have given, not just to the government, but the Ministry of Agriculture over the years. And I know they will continue to assist the ministry in addressing a lot of the issues that, that we face in the sector. And the small equipment that came in, I think it is 8 of them that came in recently. It is because the Taiwanese have realized the need for us to mechanize and to change the way things are done. And in the coming year, we will be training some young men to operate those machines, and we will be assisting the farmers in understanding the importance and effectiveness of those machines in terms of reducing the production cost. We have to move away from the original and old type sort of farming, and ensuring that our farmers continue to generate and make a profit from agriculture. So in the coming weeks, we will be demonstrating to the farmers the effectiveness, and efficiency of those equipment. And we are hoping that the farmers would not rely solely on those 8 pieces of equipment that we have here now, whilst we will be making an effort to get more. But we want to encourage them to come together as a group and find a way to procure those pieces of equipment so they will be easily available to them and not have to depend on the ministry for just 8 of them. I'm hoping that is a start, and we can increase the quantities of those, or numbers of those pieces of equipment, and that would help in really pushing the 7 crops and making it more effective in terms of reduction of our food import bill. That is a start, and the farmers, I'm sure can recall, just recently we had the input sale where we were selling the fertilizer, the peat moss, and the ground cover at a subsidized price to the farmers, because we understand their concerns, we understand the problems. Our banana farmers received a 40% subsidy on fertilizer, and that went to all banana farmers. We also got 4,000 bags of fertilizer from the Moroccan government, which was distributed to our farmers. So we understand the problems, and we are making an effort, considering the constraints faced by our government. We are a government which is about putting people first, and we know our farmers will always come first. So the support is just the beginning of more to come. But again, it is a challenge, when you have to get the resources, financial resources that may not be available at the time. I'm just asking our farmers be patient. As time goes by, whatever becomes available, we will reach out to them as much as possible.
Moving quickly, I want to go straight into the Taiwanese giving more again. So tell us.
Yes, it's a good thing you remind me. Just yesterday, the Taiwanese made a big contribution to the Ministry of Agriculture. Well, the government of St. Lucia, but the Ministry of Agriculture benefited quite a bit. We got $1.4 million for our cocoa project. We are looking forward to produce 1 million cocoa trees, because we want to really rehabilitate the whole cocoa sector, because we have a market in waiting and we really cannot meet the demand. So I really want to encourage a lot of the farmers who probably abandoned the cocoa fields and figure out there was nothing to benefit from it. Get ready, rehabilitate it, go into new production, and we are going to make that happen under the cocoa project. The fisheries facilities in Dennery and in other parts of the country, we are seeing a rapid deterioration of those facilities. We got $1.1 million from the Taiwanese for assistance in rehabilitating those facilities. Another 50,000 came in for school gardens. The honey and Simo subsector received a sum of 300,000, and we got for Boys to Men mushroom 100,000. That's almost $3 million that the Taiwanese gave to the ministry. We are hoping that we can really make good use of these funds, and the whole sector will be impacted. Great, as a result of this funding.
Moving quickly, let's go into the agro processing, because trust me, that's the way we are going. You will see, as part of the whole food security program, the agro-processing seems to be gaining momentum, and I know you're happy about this. We have done so much this year, so can you tell us a little more?
The agro-processing subsector is really, really close to my heart. From the time we had the Banana Festival, we had the Banana Festival, we had the Mango Festival, and we had the Simos Festival. It really afforded me an opportunity to see some of the products that can be made out of our local commodities, our local produce. But a lot of times when you speak to them, they are operating from their homes. They are operating outside of the normal, areas that people would have access to those persons. We have to look at how we can brand those people, help them in terms of certification, help them in terms of promotion.
Correct.
And my vision for the agro-processing subsector, and I was just speaking to the Taiwanese ambassador a short while ago, and I was saying I really wish one day we would be able to find a venue, a location where we can bring in all those persons under one umbrella. So when our tourists, our locals want to get something local, they know where to go and they can walk in there and really get it. I believe that there is tremendous potential for value added and even exporting our products, to countries in the Caribbean, to other countries in the world, because all of what I have been seeing when we have those festivals is a clear demonstration that there is a lot that can be produced from the fruits and from all of the various things that we have in St. Lucia.
Definitely.
Why not take advantage of it and really push that sector?
Exactly.
To really boost our food security and to ensure that our agro-processors, continue to survive.
In fact, the PM made it clear in the House recently concerning the cassava flour. Okay.
And you have the plantain flour.
And then we just had recently opened a new facility in Alger.
In Alger, yes.
Understand? And then we have cassava mash and cassava flour. So again, that's another substitute.
Yes, and there's so much that can be done out of cocoa. Just recently, I was told some of the persons who are involved in the cocoa subsector in terms of agro-processing could not find the raw material here, and they had to be importing it. So this is what I referred to earlier when I mentioned the cocoa project. We can tile of that and really help in terms of transforming that whole sector and making our country.
In fact, hopefully next year we want the three areas we would really want to target: the coconut festival, the cocoa festival, and the cassava festival in a big way. Because we need to get the people out there. Because I keep saying again, government cannot employ everybody.
But what I have seen, the potential for this subsector is tremendous. And I believe that in the coming years we will see a massive transformation of that subsector.
Definitely. The livestock sector, quickly, I know we are gaining momentum moving to vollet. Come next year, and I think it's timely because we again food security. We need to feed ourselves. So we need to look at our pork industry, the whole works. So where are we with vollet?
Vollet we're doing well with vollet. As a matter of fact, in the next few weeks we'll be commencing the construction of the additional office building. We are also going to be commencing work on the road. We are actually doing a major cleanup of the area because it has been in a state of abandon and you have a lot of vegetation growing. We also expected to commence the other projects like the the small remnant spend.
Yes,
And
yes,
some we have 6 major projects that we are hoping that we can complete before the end of next year. And we are hoping that early in the next year we can move the animals across to begin our
breeding program.
and to really boost that livestock sector. I am also very concerned about the meat processing facility, which has been sitting there unattended to for many years. I'm hoping that that livestock sector can really boost our production, and we can see a commissioning of the meat processing facility, which will go well for our livestock farmers in St.
Fisheries sector. The
Fisheries,
policy,
I was very happy that we were able to, have cabinet approve the fisheries policy. The fisheries policy is very, very important, because I'm sure now you're hearing about the blue economy.
Yes, man.
And there is an opportunity for funding for St. Lucia, but without the fisheries policy, it would have been a little challenging for us to access the funding. I am hoping that the policy will, change the way, things are done in terms of securing our marine space, in terms of our sustainable fishing, and giving the benefits that our fishers deserve. And I'm really, really happy that, the Cabinet of Ministers saw the importance of it, and we were able to have this fisheries policy approved at the cabinet level. And I'm very happy, because I hope that it can really transform the whole fishing sector in St. Lucia.
As we're about to end the program, I know you would have a lot to say about staff assistance, and contributing for the success of those programs and projects in the ministry. Can you?
Yes, I am very happy, and I must say this year it has been a pleasure working in the ministry. I can see a commitment by the staff of the ministry. I know there are some certain challenges, likewise in all ministry, but I really want to say a big thank you to the staff for all of what we have done together as a ministry in terms of the commitment, the level of interest, the performance. There are still some issues that I mentioned, but I'm hoping that we can build on where we are and get better and better, and really work and strive towards achieving our targets, for the end of the financial year. I must say in closing that it was very sad when I heard of the death of a farmer friend, a man who has been producing and have been contributing so much to the agricultural sector, but unfortunately his life, was lost as a result of, whatever the incident was.
Mr. Castor Cox.
And his name is Mr. Castor Cox. I really want to extend my sympathy from the ministry to his family, his friends, and other farmers like him. And I'm hoping that, this is something that will not happen again, because somebody who works hard has a right to earn what he works for.
Definitely.
But I want to wish my ministry, my constituency, Cabinet of Ministers a very Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, and look forward to working together and continuing the good work that the ministry has been doing over the years.
Definitely. And I want to say also, from this program, I would really want to thank the farmers out there that we have been reaching out to, the fishers, the agro-processors, the farming groups, the livestock groups, livestock officers, and, especially the officers in the ministry, the PS, yourself, the DPS, the heads of divisions who have really assisted this program to where it is today. And we really want to continue to really thank them. I also want to thank my event committee for working so hard. All the events you see happening, the mango festivals, they have been on board, and they have worked tirelessly to ensure that it happened. I want to thank the staff of NTN, the PIU, especially Geraldine Tikabau, because let me tell you, without them, we would not have had this program. And of course, the technicians. I must say thank you again to my information technician, Zarik. You have done exceedingly well. And of course, Lucia, our information officer, she has done very, very, very well in ensuring that we are where we are today. I just want to say, to prefer Owen Cox and Anselm Cox, two brothers, they're not well, and Anselm is working first. I want to say, I wish him a speedy recovery in that regard. And Anita James, condolences to her and the family and stuff like that. So thank you again.
Yeah, let me just say a big thank you to my PS. Without him,
we're here today.
Yes, and my DPS,
definitely,
my secretary, all heads of departments, and those who are in the field, in the forest, and the security guards, every one of you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for being here, and I wish success and your family for this year. I also want to remember Amanda Clark. Get well quickly, get back to work. I'm Philip Sidney. Say goodbye and have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Goodbye.
Agriculture on the move.
Agricola Movement.
Agriculture Agriculture on the move.
Agricole en mouvement.
Agriculture on the move.
Agricole en mouvement.
Agriculture on the move.
Agricole en mouvement.